If you grew up on Pokemon like I did, you remember this website. The Pokémon Fusion Generator by Alex and Sega. Alex on Sega? Saggy Alex? Whatever. It was a staple in the Pokemon community. This little site let you fuse the original 151 Pokemon and create monstrosities like these. Clearly, these fusions did not always come out the best. They were no more than a mix of the sprites, but artists would go out of their way to transform these sprite matchups into some wild pieces of work. And inspired by this classic website comes one of the greatest Pokemon experiences that I and a lot of others have ever had. You've seen this game, whether it has been plaguing your YouTube shorts or played through by your favorite streamer. You have seen it. Pokémon Infinite Fusion is so much more than a fusion generator. It is a full-fledged ROM and a retelling of the OG Pokemon story with almost 200,000 different possibilities and thousands of custom fan-made sprites. And like any other Pokemon game, of course, I did a Nuzlocke. For those of you who don't know, a Nuzlocke is a self-imposed set of rules to make your gaming experience a whole lot harder. You can only catch the first Pokemon you encounter on each route. If a Pokemon faints, it's dead and must be released. If all the Pokemon in your squad die, restart the game. With any other Pokemon game, I would follow these rules to a T, but Pokémon Infinite Fusion isn't quite like the others. Obviously, the most appealing part of this ROM is the ability to fuse your team, and the Nuzlocke one route restrictions kinda hinders the fun of it. So I had to tweak things a bit. My playthrough of Pokémon Infinite Fusion, I messed with the settings. The game was set to hard mode and the battle style was set. Every Pokemon encounter, besides statics, were made to be randomized and always fused. This assured we would get to see a whole lot of wacky fusions. It gave us plenty of fusion material, and it was just pretty fucking neat. However, what I changed to my Nuzlocke rules was the added leniency clause. Essentially, I would adhere to everything as I normally would, but any non-route encounters, i.e. gift Pokemon, wonder trade, eggs, and all that good stuff, were fair game, and I could fuse, unfuse, and reverse fuse at my own discretion. But I'm getting ahead of myself. It all started in Pallet Town, with my starter, Dirk the Venuseed. Together, we shit on our rival, Jimin from award-winning K-pop boy band BTS, and trekked forward. 'Twas about time I populated my squad. On Route 1, I caught Donnie the Speedle. I didn't particularly care for the Spearow Fearow line, but having a Blastoise would be awesome fusion material. At the Viridian City Pokemart is this weird delivery guy that gave me my first gift Pokemon, Hash Brown the Oddnix. Route 22 gave me my Nidoran female hybrid, so here's Bon Clay, the Nidoran Okama. I was real happy about this one. I was interested to see what a Nidoking cross Nidoqueen would be, especially knowing that Mount Moon would be chock full of moonstones. Which is a good time to mention that this isn't my first run. I had a handful of failed attempts before this, but only ever got as far as Vermilion City, so up till then we should be sweet. Anyways, I also caught a Fidoof that I named Bihei. Look, Bidoof's a vibe, and if I could just get this ugly thing to evolve into a Milotic, that would be sublime. Oh yeah, and then there was a Wiggles the Catabat. So I go to take on Brock in Pewter City Gym. What's really cool about these gym fights is that they only allow you to send out the same number of Pokemon as them. I elected for Hash Brown and Dirk. Hash Brown breezed past the Geogy and fought a slow battle against the Dignix. I paralyzed it with Stun Spore, and we slowly chipped away at each other with Rock Tomb. Though I used a potion just to be safe. First gym, down. On Route 3, I encountered a Manish, which I named Onion. Though that wouldn't last long. I unfused Wiggles and Onion to create this beautiful thing. Man-Bat the Zuki. This guy was fucking sick, and the leftovers were thrown in a box. So, I step on into Mount Moon and encounter the Binaut. Wasn't thrilled about this one really, and to top things off, Man-Bat fucking died to this Team Rocket grunt. Though, Donnie evolves into a Spear Turtle. Ugh. That's pretty fucking gross. Well, we end up fighting this fossil maniac science dude while Team Rocket attempts triple fusion, though it fails. And after all that, we receive the Helix fossil. After catching Knife the Honedge cross Honedge fusion on Route 4, which is sick fusion material, Aegislash looks cool on everything. I did some grinding and leveled up my squad. During this playthrough, I wanted to use infinite rare candies because grinding sucks, but I couldn't figure out how, so here we are. I soon got Bon Clay to evolve all the way into its final evolution. I found a Moonstone chilling on a rock, and some nice Clefairies gave me one as well. And to top it off, I reversed the fusion and ended up with this. Next to evolve was Donnie into Fear Turtle. Fuck me, mate. And then came B-Hay into Fee Barrel. Oh dear lord. At least Hash Brown's Evo into Gloonix was pretty cool. I think? Well, we fail our Route 24 Pokemon to a double Trico and challenge Misty at Cerulean City. But I absolutely clapped those cheeks. Not really though, it was a tough-ish battle. Once again, Hash Brown and Dirk got amongst it. Hash Brown demolished the Jigglydean, but the Oddiu was a different story. I was chipping away at its health, but my moves weren't doing much, and this thing had Water Pulse, which was a nightmare. I switch into Dirk, who destroys it with a Pin Missile. Thank you, Dirk. On Route 5, we encounter a missed opportunity, and I capture Green Ball the Trico, who soon evolves into Treevile, and then Grovyle. Here was a turning point. I wasn't happy with my team. I had plenty of fusion material, but not enough cool fusions in of itself. It was time for a complete overhaul, and this was the new team. I liked the idea of having a starter fused with the starter. I unfused Green Bull and Donnie to form Arlong the Warvile. I wanted to test out a little thought of mine. There's this guy that teaches the starter pledge moves. I wanted to see if I could get this swamp thingo to work with only one Pokemon. It didn't, but whatever. He looks sick. I unfused Knife and Bon Clay to create Alphonse the Hong King, which looks fucking insane. With the leftover Honedge, I fused the Bibarrel from the unfused B-Hay. This guy's funny as hell, and he took over the B-Hay mantle. And finally came Botox the Nidobass from Nidoqueen and Feebas. This one's ugly for now, but I'm just holding out for a Milotic. So we had Dirk, Hash Brown, Arlong, Alphonse, B-Hay, and Botox. I met up with Bill, who's up to some weird kink shit, and get a ticket to travel aboard the SSN. But Botox dies to a random NPC, so I never got that Milotic. Anyways, I run into the Fossil Maniac dude again and receive the Root Fossil. I pretty easily beat Jamin in the trainer battle and got cut from the captain after giving him a back rub. Also, quick aside, there's this area in Vermilion where you have to rock smash a path to this green Pokeloot. It contains a pickaxe, which acts as a substitute for the Rock Smash HM, so I didn't have to bog down my moveset with the HM. Fucking brilliant. Anyhow, next I went through Diglett's cave and failed my encounter against a Treerill. Look, I had enough Tricos, and who honestly cares about the Marill line? It was on purpose. Seeing as the exit to the cave spit me all the way back to Route 2, and I just got a hold of Cut, I decided to backtrack and check out all the small trees from the previous routes. In the back of Pewter City Museum, a scientist requests that we clear out some Beedrills in Viridian Forest, where I get the old Amber. There was also a house on Route 2 with a fuck ton of small trees at the back, and much like the pickaxe, I received a pair of shears to replace cuts. Oh, and while I was backtracking, I completed this fetch quest for some construction worker and received the Rocky helmet, which I slapped on Dirk. I hadn't mentioned this yet, but Dirk was the absolute GOAT. His ability is Iron Barbs, which damages the opposing Pokemon whenever they physically attack him, and he is an absolute tank. So Iron Barbs plus Rocky Helmet should be ungodly. After exploring for a bit longer, I entered Vermilion City Gym to take on Lieutenant Surge. I had some pretty good luck on the bins, and absolutely rolled Surge with our Steel Ground Alphons. After beating the gym, a scientist lets us know that the Pewter City Museum's fossil machine is up and running, as well as giving me the Teleport HM. Teleport is fucking amazing in this game. It's just fly, and it is so convenient. This was also the first time that I saw the game's map and discovered that I had Johto to look forward to as well. My Helix fossil gave me Lord Helix the Oddicate, which never left my box, and my Root fossil gave me Railgun the Magnage. So my fossils were pretty lame, though once again, Aegislash looks good on everything. In any case, our next big hurdle was Rock Tunnel. I refuse to use Flash. Shit move, and just unnecessary. So I wandered around in the dark, though I had learnt my lesson since Mount Moon. Butt chug repels like it's nobody's business. Though, because of this, my encounter was a regular ass Geodude from Rock Smashing. His name was Borfly. Could have been a Chargerill. But soon enough, I would run out of repels and potions, and there was no way in hell I was turning back. In the Rock Tunnel, I lost both Dirk and Arlong to some NPC's Magpoke. I almost lost Hash Brown to this wild Binaut with counter. He only lived because of Sturdy, and it was generally just an upsetting time. But eventually, I found the exit and crawled out of Rock Tunnel with my team half dead. After that fucking nightmare of a cave, I headed up to the second story of a Poke Center, where I could wonder trade. After beating a gym, they give you a couple of these tickets which you can cash in. I used this as an excuse to trade away Borfly, the fucking Geodude, and in return, I received a Nido-C. Wasn't feeling it. The Nido-C was one to traded, and I received the Bon Pip. Still, no. In the end, I won to traded Bon Pip for San Rogue, who I promptly renamed Sheena. Oh, and I hatched a Wynaut I named Egg out of a blue egg I received. Moving on, in Lavender Town, there's this guy in a house. He gave me a Moonstone, and later, a Sunstone, which I used to evolve Hash Brown into Belnix. For the moment, I avoided Pokemon Tower and instead explored elsewhere. On Route 8, I caught Cancer, the Cough-Orb, who was added to the squad, and Sheena evolved into San Lee. Buh. So, to keep everyone on the same page, the new squad consisted of Hash Brown, Alphonse, Bihei, Sheena, Cancer, and who was really just there for teleport. When I made it to Celadon City, I came across some pretty fun stuff when exploring the houses. I ran into the fossil guy at this cute little cafe and got the armor fossil. But what's cooler is that if you come back at night, which you can just do instantly with the hotel next to it, Team Rocket are selling caged Pokemon on the black market. Here, I snag myself Merchandise the Abner, who replaced Sai in the team, and I taught Teleport to Cancer in its stead. Merchandise and Sheena needed some training. The whole squad did, honestly, so I took a break to grind levels. One of my favorite things about this game is that you could rematch a whole bunch of the trainers you fight, and every time you rematch them, they get stronger and can even have Pokemon evolve. It does max out eventually, but it makes for great XP farming, and who better to abuse than youngster Joey and his fat ass Raticate. I evolved Sheena into Croco Lee, and then into Krook Lee. It wasn't a custom sprite, which sucked, so I reversed the fusion. Oh god. Fuck me. Neither fusion was a custom sprite, and because I received her from Wonder Trade, I couldn't unfuse her, so I was fucking disappointed. I kept abusing Joey, which triggered Alphonse to evolve into a Duo King, which was sick as, and Bihei evolved into B-Blade, which was a no-go. So I reversed the fusion and got this rad guy. Hash Brown evolved into a real Belnix, and I reversed merchandise into a Dragosoul. And from the armor fossil, I got Firecrotch the Psymander. I unfused Firecrotch in order to create Gonorrhea the Charvile from the Charmander and my spare Grovile. Because of Sheena's disappointing appearance, we banished her to the Shadow Realm. Box 30, Gonorrhea took her place. Then Gonorrhea reached its max evolution, Chartile, which was fucking awesome. Cancer did the same. However, Weezode wasn't so nice. Thankfully, after reversing Cancer into Electrazing, he too became fucking awesome. Anyways, back on task. I bleeped back on over to Celadon City and bought myself Wife the Ralpy, because God of War. I also have this tendency to check every single bin I come across for loot. Usually, it's nothing. Maybe a little something every once in a while. But this time, I got fucking jumped by a Gluins. This was technically a first encounter for Celadon City, so I named it Cum Dumpster and chucked it in the box. I ran into the game dev here, which was pretty cool. On his laptop, there's a cease and desist email from a large gaming company. I wonder who that might be. I also stole this bitch's Eevee, which turned into a Bulbtata when I officially received it. But Eevee! I evolved Wife into a Raltic and then a Kurtic, and finally proceeded to take on Team Rocket. Now, normally in Pokemon, Team Rocket's Celadon City hideout is behind a poster in the game corner. You can check the poster out in Pokémon Infinite Fusion, but nothing's there. A grunt even points it out. Instead, we explore the sewers with Erica. This segment is fucking amazing for grinding because there are so many double battle wild encounters and Erica heals you after every single one of them. Because of this, Wife evolved into Gardevoir. Oh no, what's happened? In any case, I beat the absolute fuck out of Giovanni, then reversed Wife's fusion into a Togevoir. Smash! And then proceeded to also beat the hell out of Erica, in the most loving way possible. She's great, we stan Erica. Over in Lavender Town's Pokemon Tower are straight up actual dead people. Actual ghosts. And one of them killed Bihei. Didn't even get to go all the way to the top, because I didn't have those Sylph goggles. Well, whatever, I chucked Sheena back into the squad. Against Koga in Fuchsia City, we took him out without any hiccups, and finally I made it to Saffron. Like Celadon, Saffron City is completely overrun by Team Rocket. However, there are some buildings still unaffected. Most notably, Saffron City's old fighting gym, where this guy named Mike kicked my shit in. Gonorrhea, dead. Replaced by Wife. And that wasn't even their top dog. Though Black Belt Koichi got fucking stomped by Cancer. And as a reward, I could choose from Hitmonchan, Hitmonlee, or Hitmontop. I went straight for the Hitmontop. Great fusion material. But then it turned into a Glue Lee. And I was disappointed. I named it Schuster. It went in the box. The squad currently consists of Wife, Sheena, Hash Brown, Cancer, Merchandise, and Alphonse. and together we entered the raid on Sylph Co. Luckily, things went pretty alright. There were a bunch of beds in the facility where I could get a quick heal, and I cleared the whole thing out, freeing all the hostages. There's a scientist waiting at the teleporter before Giovanni. He lets you know how many hostages are left in the building. You actually get asked whether or not you just want to leave them and go past, but I wanted to play the game properly, so yeah. Because I saved all the hostages, he gave me Sheldon Cooper, the Blastlum. Bazinga! Right before I reach the final boss room, Jimin stops me. He's been following us and is fully aware of the Team Rocket situation. So, he does the only logical thing and challenges me to a battle right next to where the Sylphco president and Giovanni are. And of course, he kills one of the squad. At least, it was no custom sprite Sheena. Look, I get that this is a dire, time-sensitive situation, and you just wasted our time with a battle. But hold my beer. I brought Sheldon.
Bazinga!
Against Giovanni. Thankfully, Jimin teams up with me. The initial matchup was my Cancer and Jimin's Nidogeot versus Giovanni's Prime Reno and Ryrus. We attack the Prime Reno and deal a good fucking chunk of damage. The Ryrus pulls a fucking sheer cold out of its ass, and it lands on Cancer, and just like Walter White, the ice cured Cancer. I pull out Alphonse. We target the Ryrus this time, and get it in the red. It, once again, lands a sheer cold. On Jimin's Pokemon, thank the Lord Almighty. And on the next turn, Alphonse takes out the Ryrus, and Jimin's Starbra just barely survives. Giovanni switches Prime Reno out for a Sand Queen, and his Genkan doesn't do much with Outrage. Things were going well on my end, however. The Genkan activated Alphonse's Poison Point, and then was brought to half health by an Iron Head. Genkan's Outrage finished off Jimin's Starbra, and the Sand Queen uses Earthquake. Earthquake doesn't affect the Genkan, but it fucking hit me. Alphonse, dead. I bring out the merchandise. This guy is going to be a beast as a Dragonite, and Jimin backs me up with Electrodose. I go for a Swords Dance, am almost one-shot by Outrage, and get finished off by Earthquake. No more merch. I pull in Hash Brown. They finish off the Electrodose, and my Magical Leaf didn't do jack fucking shit because I was 10 levels below it. But then Jimin pulls out a good ol' regular ass Tauros and fucking rolls the rest of Giovanni's Pokemon. I would have been fucking done if Jimin wasn't there to carry me. I love you, Jimin from award-winning K-pop boy band BTS. As reward, I receive Man, the Psymander, which was supposed to be a Totodile. Well, whatever. I picked up a leftover Master Ball from the machine they were using, and buy 3 EXP shares from the store that's now on the first level. But now, I needed to get a brand new squad and do a whole fucking lot of grinding. But first, let us appreciate the Psychic Room. Epic. Currently, our team consists of Wife, Hash Brown, and Sheldon Cooper. We extracted the starter Pokemon from our Bulbtata and Psymander to create Daka the Charsaw. Then, leveled him up a crap ton till it became this bad puppy. Welcome to the party. But, far more importantly, is my quick trip to Johto. Saffron City, now that Team Rocket is out of the picture, has a train station that'll take you all the way to Goldenrod City. Now, I wanted to save Johto for after I beat the Kanto champion, but I mean, I was already here, so I explored all of Goldenrod, talked to some NPCs, and that was about it. No new encounters or anything like that. But that's not to say that nothing fun or important happened. Here in Goldenrod, they're making their own big ol' shopping tower, like we got in Celadon, only it's still under construction. Still, the first floor is operational, and here we can buy a bunch of evolution stones, which includes a shiny stone. And finally, it was here. The moment of truth. What's this? Wife is evolving? Hey, yo! I love it. Also, in the basement of the shopping tower, I got myself a fucking teleporter, which is just like the shears or pickaxe, but for teleporting. Oh, and I found Usain, however the fuck you pronounce his name, who wanted to trade one of my Pokemon for a Mewtwo. Yo, what the fuck? Get back here, asshole! This is not what I paid for. My level 3 Caterpie is worth more than this. And finally, this NPC in the national park gave me an egg from Hoenn. And I had a pretty good idea on who it might hatch into. Woo! Second routes, baby! I infused Railgun and fused the routes with Honedge. Your name is Smash. And back to grinding. Damn! That Jinxian finna make me act up! Well, we got Dakar to its max evolution, and thanks to a Duskstone I bought, I could max out Smash as well. Yo! 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 Bro, that's fucking wild! Cunt looks like Jeanne of Arc. Beautiful. Anyways, now we just needed a number 6. But I had nothing cool in the boxes, so I went for a wonder trade. I traded in a Psyduck and got myself Volleyball the Trap Reap, which I evolved all the way into a Flyros. It's pretty cool, but I wanted to check out the reverse fusion, which gave me an Amphigon. I didn't know which one was better, didn't really care. Amphigon looked fucking insane, so we kept him that way. Now that we were back up to a team of 6, I finally faced off against Sabrina. GG, easy. That Destiny Bond almost made me shit myself though. So, next up on the to-do list is hit up Cinnabar Island. So I needed Surf. I failed my Safari Zone encounter against a Smeargar, but that was to be expected, and I went about the zone. This place is awesome, especially this temple thingo. But anyways, I got Surf and headed down Route 21 to reach Cinnabar. On Route 21, I caught myself LSP, the Smooquill. Also, there's a static Absol encounter on the island, which I caught and named Emo Bacon, my OG gamer tag before Just Cody. And my encounter, Volta, in the Pokemon Mansion blew itself up. I also revived the old Amber and received Bok-chan, the Chanbok. I unfused LSP and fused the Smoochum with Emo Bacon the Absol, though it maintained the LSP title. It evolves into Ginsol, which got them big tatas and gobby lips. And on Seafoam Islands, I caught Hulk Hogan, the Pika-Chop. I needed to do some grinding before I was ready to take on Blaine, so that's what I did. But while doing so, I came across something fucking crazy. I had yet to catch something on Route 18 and accidentally came across Aokiji the Hawkuno. Didn't know that was possible, but I sure as hell am not gonna fucking complain. I evolved him all the way into a King Kuno, which is just so cool. Next, I created the ultimate tank by unfusing Bok-chan and then combining the Chansey with Egg the Wynaut. I trained Egg all the way up to a Wobsy and then reversed it into a Bliss Buffet. Oh, and I got myself a hand truck, a little dolly that would substitute for the Strength HM. Well, whatever. Time to take on Blaine. Easy bangers. I headed to Mount Ember next to deal with some Team Rocket shenanigans. And in a double battle against some grunts, I lost Sheldon Cooper. Bazinga. I replaced him with Aokiji. So, our team at the moment consists of Wife, LSP, Smash, Daka, Volleyball, and Aokiji, with Hash Brown and Egg as backups in the box. When we reach Giovanni, he's already captured Moltres and the other legendary birds to create Zap Molkuno, this fucking monstrosity. I opened with Volleyball, dealt a little bit of damage to the Moltres head, dead. I switched in Daka, who actually did a bit of damage to the Articuno head, dead. Next up was Aokiji, my legendary bird against his. He got the Articuno head into the red. Then it used Roost, and the other heads attacked, dead. Then came Smash, who hit him with a Toxic. The opposing team is protected by Safeguard. Fack, dead. LSP was the next to go. My attack did a bit, got the Moltres head low, but you know how it goes. Dead. My final Pokemon, the apple of my eye, my favorite one, Wife, was all that was left. It looks like this is where the run ends, boys. Wife hits off a Psychic and kills the Moltres head, then tanks a hit from both remaining heads. She's in the red. Max Potion, she's in the red again. Max Potion is low and now paralyzed. Full Restore, in the red again. Max Potion, low again. Max Potion, and again, and again, and again it goes. The Articuno would always hit with an Ice Beam, and the Zapdos would with either Thunderbolt or Drill Peck, and I just kept on chugging those potions. It seemed inevitable. I was running very low in potions, but then something miraculous happened. The opposing Articuno head used Reflect, so I finally had an opportunity to attack, though my Aura Sphere did jack all. But then, the Articuno used Haze on the next turn, and I realized what had happened. Because of the sacrifices of the rest of my team, and that metric fuck ton of potions I was chugging, the Articuno had run out of damage dealing moves. The Zapdos head got me low again, however, and paralyzed. I only had the one full restore from before, so I max potioned and played through the paralysis. I got the Articuno down to a sliver of health, then healed once again on the next turn. After that, I finished off the Articuno. It was just Wife against the Zapdos. I max potioned again, but was hit with a crit. So I potioned again, which left me with no more max potions. Though I had plenty of hyper potions, so we were chilling. Using Psychics, I got it down to one more hit away before running out of PP for the move. Luckily, a Moonblast was enough to finish the job, and that dumb fucking bird was dead. Or well, it split back off into the legendary bird trio. Wife, the absolute fucking GOAT! But now, I needed to rebuild my team. The Moltres from the Zapmolcuno stayed behind in Mount Ember, which I had no encounters at, so I chanced taking a hit for a quick ball. But when that failed, I chucked my Master Ball at it. Your name is a Kainu. In any case, I pulled up a list of the routes I had yet to encounter something on, and caught some fusion material for the squad. On Route 7 was Vegemite the Bulbachew. Route 15 gave me Mr. Krabs the Double Krabby Fusion. Route 14, I got myself Agamemnon the Galvan Mask. And on Route 13 was the Clap the Smooth Lava. I leveled them all up and began to fuse shit for the final team, with our new fusion material and whatever else I had lying around. So here's what we ended up with. Of course, we have Wife. I also brought Egg and Hash Brown out of the box. And then we added a Kainu, the Molchamp. Venula, the Venula. I forgot to give him a new name and just didn't notice. I thought it was some dumb shit nickname that I pulled out of my ass, okay? Then there's Ducky Mukra, the Jingregus, with two spares, Arachne the Archula, and Boruto, the Rhyologian. It was time that I fought the last of Kanto's gym leaders, Giovanni once more. Though, we did pretty well for ourselves, and only lost Egg, who was not as good of a tank as I had hoped. Before taking on the Elite Four, I went and captured the two remaining legendary birds. I caught our second Aokiji the Articuno, as well as Kizaru the Zapdos. I fused Aokiji with a Mawile I caught in Crimson City, and Kizaru would be fused with a Porygon I got in Tojo Falls. I then evolved Kizaru into its max evolution. My final team, going into the Indigo Plateau, consisted of Wife, a Kainu, Hash Brown, Ducky Mukra, Venula, and Arachne. I faced off against Lorelei, and discovered that I was overleveled. Fuck. I'm blaming this Reddit user, Mr. Clicks Too Much, for spreading misinformation. You're a fucking asshole and I hate you. So, yeah, I absolutely rolled her. Same went for Bruno and Agatha. I would say the same for Lance, but he did manage to kill Arachne. Well, whatever. I still had to fight Jimin. I rolled him as well. Yeah, okay. It was anticlimactic. I'm sorry. But it doesn't end there. Still got Johto. So I teleport on over to Goldenrod and start my Johto adventure by visiting all the towns so that I could just teleport to each of them when I felt like taking on the gyms. But my first destination was Professor Elm's laboratory, where I received my second starter Pokemon, Edge, the double Zoroark fusion. On the way though, there was this cool Slowpoke puzzle in Azalea Town, and an egg I got from a daycare hatched into Santa Cruz the Delibird. Anyways, I was still decently overleveled, so I shat on the first couple of gyms. I'm just gonna tell ya some of the cool stuff that happened along the way. I found Giovanni and a young Silver chilling in this house. I got to the top of Sprout Tower. The sneak puzzle to get to the top was actually pretty fun. I caught Guacamole the Snorlet in the Ice Mountains. Edge evolved into a double Zoroark fusion, which is fucking wild. I unfused Guacamole and fused my Snorlax and Delibird to create Santa Cruz the Delilax. I caught Nachos the Magidos in the Lake of Rage. Unfortunately, 'twas not a shiny. Its evolution is also just a Mega Gyarados, which makes sense but is lame. Though I promptly unfused it, and instead combined one Gyarados with a Nidoqueen to create Blue Taki the Nidodos. And I fused the other with the leftover Diglett from Guacamole, which became Nachos the Giarlet, and soon, Nachos the Dugdos. I Wonder traded for Shrek the Pekanite, which I thought would evolve to be cool, but the Rystar was pretty meh. I got Waterfall off of Professor Elm, and accidentally killed the Mewtwo. Fuck. I caught Oreo the Reshiram at the top of the Bell Tower, and I caught Walter the Kyurem at the Frozen Over Lake of Rage, who technically wasn't legal to use. It wasn't until Morty that the levels were balanced again, which is telling because Ducky Muckra died, and I reckon I only won the battle because of Oreo's Noble Roar. Oreo is so cool, Noble Roar is amazing, but too bad that both Akainu and Oreo died against Price. Though I didn't release Oreo as I had done with everyone else, because I wanted to see the Reshiram Zekrom Kyurem triple fusion. So, he just sat in the box. The new team now consisted of Wife, Hash Brown, Vanilla, Edge, Boruto, and Nachos. Though, Boruto would die against Claire. Whatever. On Knot Island of the Sevi Islands, there are 2 NPCs in the Poke Center that will give you 2 eggs from other regions in exchange for some heart scales. Unfortunately, I was out of the scales, so I grinded Rock Smash until I had enough, getting a bunch of fossils at the same time. From one egg, I got Chumley the Pawniard, and from the other, Austin Show the Bagon. And then, I went back to Pewter City to revive fossils. I headed to the hotel to skip till the next day, when the fossils would be ready. What the fuck? I wake up back in my bed, back in Pallet Town, and the screen is wigging the fuck out. I come to find that Professor Oak's laboratory has been replaced with a gym. The weirdest part of the whole thing, however, is that Oak has been replaced by Jirachi. You can't claim any of the Pokemon on the table, and when you talk to Jirachi, he makes you choose your strongest Pokemon to battle it. I don't think you can beat it. You can't throw a Pokeball, and it one-shot Vanilla, despite only being level 20. And then we wake up. So, technically, I did not lose the Nuzlocke, because it was all a dream. While I was grinding a few levels for the new Pokemon, Vanilla dies. Turns out, Jirachi completely fucked up his stats during the dream sequence. And when I went to release him, I found the Jirachi in my team. I named it Oak. Then I finished off reviving all my fossils. Unfortunately, all of them sucked, except for the root fossils, which gave me Magnedges. Once again, Aegislash is cool with everything. Anyways, I fused Austenshow and Oak to create Austenshow the Gyromancer, and I fused Chumlee with an Aegislash to form an Aegisharp. Unlike the normal games, two of the towns in Johto aren't there, that being Cianwood and Olivine. Instead, their gym leaders, Chuck and Jasmine respectively, are chilling on the Sevi Islands. So I went and beat the crap out of Chuck before finding Hogia. So, against the fucking gym leader, I'm fine. But trying to catch that fickin' bird, I lost both of the new guys, Chumlee and Austenshow. And you wanna know the kicker? The fucking thing struggled to death before I could catch it. So, I replaced their slots with Santa Cruz and Walter, who I fused with a Fearow. Yes, I know Walter is an illegal Pokemon, but remember that leniency clause. In the fine print, it says, fuck you, I don't give a shit. So, whatever. In the Berry Forest, I did this little mini game where I had to find a bunch of lost kids, and one of them turns out to be a Zoroark, who is also my encounter for the route. I fused it with an Aegislash and named it Snuffy. The final Johto gym leader I had to face was Jasmine. I started off with Edge and set up a bunch of nasty plots to take out her Scardrio. Edge would have killed her Aglix as well, but it had Sturdy and killed Edge with a heavy slam. I sent out Nachos, set up some Dragon Dances, and finished the Aglix off. Nachos also dealt a good chunk of damage to Sharp, but was killed by an X-Scissor. I sent out Wife and killed it with a Moonblast. But then, she sent out a Metadon. I knew it was a fucking horrible mistake to keep her in. But I had Aura Sphere, and Wife is pretty fucking strong, and the attack was pretty fucking strong, but not quite strong enough, and then Wife was pretty fucking dead. Fuck! No! Not the wife, the missus, no! I'm sad now. I switched in Walter, one shot, he's dead, but in the end, I prevailed with my manky paw Hash Brown, and I beat the last of the gyms. There is no Elite Four or Champion in Johto, but there is still more content. Mount Silver. But before I could even think about going there, I needed a new team. We ended up with Hash Brown, who I must applaud for sticking with us the entire playthrough, and for being a fucking baller. And the others were Kizaru, Aokiji, Snuffy, Blue Taki, and Santa Cruz. And once they were leveled, I scaled the mountain. As we make our way up, we have a final fight against Jamin. I lead the fight with Kizaru, and Jamin with Arcatar. It was a bad type matchup, so I switched into Blue Taki, who got it down to half health. Jamin switches it out for Aerodactyl, who Blue Taki gets in the red, but before I could take it out, I too was low and had like -3 attack, so I swapped in Santa Cruz. Steel Wing was super effective, dead, though Kizaru finished the job. The next matchup was Kizaru against his fat-ass Raticate. Its double edge did a pretty good amount of damage, but my Thunder plus the move's recoil killed it in one turn. When he brought back Arcatar, I used a full restore on Kizaru, though it used Roar and forced Aokiji into the fight. Aokiji has it down to a sliver of health, but almost died, was burnt, and had to worry about the Raging Sandstorm. So I returned Kizaru to the playing field, and Arcatar died to the Sandstorm. After missing a Thunder against Jamin's Crogiot, I full restored, and it used U-turn, which brought in Miss Macazam. I missed another attack, and took a gamble on whether or not I could survive a hit. didn't work out in my favor was a crit, and Kizaru died. I bring out Hush Brown, who hangs on with Sturdy, and deals a little chunk of damage. Then I switch into Snuffy and finish it off. Snuffy then takes on Crogiot, and pretty easily wins. So yeah, 2 Pokemon dead, but I'm not fucking asked to go all the way back to a PC. So I trek onwards. And right before I make it to the peak, Cynthia stops me. Oh no. I start the battle with Hush Brown, who loses more than half health to her Pori Tomb. So I pull out Snuffy. It gets her in the red and frozen with Tri-Attack. So I have to full restore. And as I do, she switches in Togekion, who uses Ice Beam, and I freeze again. Full restore. It uses Thunder Wave, and then, with a Dazzling Gleam, gets me to 2 health. Meanwhile, I've been setting up Sword Dances. Full restore, Thunder Wave, I use another Swords Dance, then we trade hits, and I just barely take it out with Night Slash. Cynthia brings out Vapor Chomp, this absolute fucking monster, who one-shot Snuffy. Thankfully, after setting up 2 Dragon Dances, I kill it with Blue Taki. I switched into Aokiji against her Rose Core, but he dies before landing an attack, so I bring out Hash Brown and set up Quiver Dances. I misjudged how much damage I could take and lost him too. It was all up to Blue Taki, and it was a horrendous type matchup. But you know what? We have spirit. We have hope. We have the Lord on our side. Up till now, we've defied all lords. And why should that stop now? Cynthia killed us. GG. That's the end of the Nuzlocke. Fucking can't. So, did I lose the Nuzlocke? I don't think so. I mean, I beat the champion and went into the Hall of Fame and all that. So I'm pretty sure I'm alright. Afterwards, I went back, rematched and beat Cynthia. At the pinnacle of Mount Silver is Paldeatina, which looks mad. I killed 2 of its parts and then caught it. I named it Borat. Once defeating it, a vortex opens up, a rip in the space-time continuum, and I face off against the final boss of the game. We travel 3 years into the future, and I battle Gold. Since I lost the Nuzlocke already, I won't bother describing the battle, because there aren't any stakes, but yeah. I lose against him on my first attempt, but succeed the next. In my defense, he and Cynthia had higher level Pokemon than me. The last thing I did before exiting the game was re-find Colress, who has achieved the ability to triple fuse some Pokemon, mainly legendary trios, now that we finished Mount Silver. I had the technically dead Oreo and Walter in my box. When we fused them, it produced an egg. So I bought as many incubators as I could buy, and after some grinding, it became Dr. Doof, the Zekushi Ram, which is just fucking awesome. Anyways, that's it. That's my experience playing Pokémon Infinite Fusion. Pokémon Infinite Fusion is an amazing experience. The ability to fuse Pokemon adds so much to the game. You see, your problem with replaying old Pokemon games is that you kind of already know every single Pokemon, and seeing them doesn't excite you, doesn't pique your interest. You, fundamentally, cannot have that same issue with Pokémon Infinite Fusion. And then, the custom sprites are absolutely immaculate, and while the story is very similar to the original, they expand upon it, improve it, and include a fuck ton of extra content. This game is free to play. And if you're a fan of Pokemon, you should definitely give it a try. Alrighty, see ya fellas.